Wendy's is one of the most recognizable fast food brands in the world, but behind the famous red-haired logo is a surprisingly bittersweet family story. For years, founder Dave Thomas carried quiet regret over naming the restaurant after his daughter, Wendy Thomas, so much so that he later apologized to her for it. Here's why a decision meant to be loving ended up feeling like a burden. The origin of the name, Wendy's. When Dave Thomas opened the first Wendy's restaurant in Columbus, Ohio, in 1969, he wanted something personal, warm, and trustworthy, qualities he believed fast food was missing at the time. He chose to name the restaurant after his youngest daughter, Melinda Lou, Wendy Thomas, using her childhood nickname. The now iconic logo featured a smiling, freckled red-haired girl modeled after Wendy as a child. To Dave, the name symbolized family, honesty, and home-cooked values, a sharp contrast to the impersonal feel of other fast food chains. At the time, it felt like a tribute. Fame came with an unexpected cost. As Wendy's exploded into a global brand, Wendy Thomas grew up under a spotlight she never asked for. By the time she was a teenager, strangers recognized her name everywhere. Teachers, classmates, and even adults would ask if she was the Wendy. The logo followed her into adulthood, turning her name into a public identity she couldn't escape. Dave Thomas later realized that what he saw as a loving gesture had unintentionally placed pressure on his daughter, pressure to live up to a brand, an image, and a corporate legacy. Dave Thomas's regret: "I should have named it after myself." In later interviews, Dave Thomas openly admitted he regretted the decision. He said he should have named the restaurant after himself instead of his daughter. While the brand brought him success and financial security for his family, he acknowledged that Wendy paid a personal price for that success. Thomas once explained that Wendy lost the chance at having a normal childhood and adulthood without constant association to a billion-dollar business. That realization deeply affected him. It was this understanding that led to a heartfelt apology. The apology that meant everything. Dave Thomas eventually apologized directly to Wendy for naming the restaurant after her. The apology wasn't about the business success, it was about recognizing that he hadn't fully considered how fame and branding would shape her life. Wendy later shared that her father felt genuine remorse, not because Wendy's became huge, but because he hadn't protected her anonymity. Despite the apology, Wendy made it clear she never blamed her father. She understood his intentions were loving, not exploitative. Wendy Thomas's perspective today. As an adult, Wendy Thomas developed a more balanced view of her unique legacy. While she has spoken openly about the challenges, loss of privacy, assumptions about wealth, and being forever tied to a corporate image, she has also expressed pride in what her father built. In later years, she even appeared in Wendy's advertising campaigns, reclaiming her identity on her own terms. Wendy has emphasized that her father was a deeply caring man who valued family above all else, and his apology only reinforced that. A rare example of accountability. Dave Thomas's apology stands out in the world of big business. Founders are often celebrated for bold branding decisions, but Thomas was willing to admit that success can come with unintended consequences, especially when family is involved. His regret humanized him and highlighted the emotional complexity behind corporate empires. It wasn't about money or marketing. It was about fatherhood, the legacy behind the logo. Today, Wendy's operates thousands of locations worldwide, and the smiling red-haired girl remains one of the most recognizable mascots in fast food history. But the story behind the name adds a layer of humanity rarely associated with global brands. Dave Thomas didn't just build a restaurant chain, he learned, publicly and painfully, that even well-intentioned decisions can affect the people closest to you. And sometimes, the most meaningful legacy isn't the business itself, but the humility to say, "I'm sorry."